Hello and welcome back to Shankar Explores. You're coming with me this week as we explore the Padmanabhapuram Palace, the ruling seat of Padmanabhadasa Martandavarma. So this is the Padmanabhapuram Palace. It's over 400 years old and it's in the Kanyakumari District of Tamil Nadu, but it's maintained by the Kerala government because, well, earlier this used to be a part of Kerala and it's a really big part of their heritage and culture. And before we go in, we have to take off our slippers, which I really like as a policy because it's easier to maintain, you know. So there we go. At a certain point in time, this place used to host 10,000 soldiers. So it was, fortified against the Nayaks of Madurai and all that. So let's go and get a ticket to check out this place. So by the way, there are tickets here for adults, for children, and also for your camera. So pro tip while you're going here. And when I enter, there's a nice guy who asks me what I speak and where I'm from. Tamil. And he maintains a notebook of how many friends he's made from different places. And there are also people everywhere to guide us wherever we go because it's a maze. And in case from there to here we forgot our way, it's just a slight reminder. Oh. And these people are extremely helpful and they answer questions.
இந்த பேலஸ் எப்போ கட்டினாங்க?
இந்த பேலஸ் கட்டி 420 வருஷம் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. 1501.
So this was the conference room of the king when he sat here and discussed with his ministers. Well, Martandavarma used to sit on that chair right there discussing his strategies. So the construction of this palace was started by Iravivarma and was completed by Martandavarma, who then dedicated his rule to Lord Anantapadmanabha Swami, who is the family deity and resides at Tirunandapuram. So that's why this place is called Padmanabhapuram. Originally it was called Kalkulam. And fun fact, this is actually one of the places that benefited from the Mathur Aqueduct scheme, which we saw in my previous video. So you can go check that out on my channel. Same to you. So anyway, as you can see, this place is huge and it was built here for a strategic reason because it's got hills on one side and a strong fort on the other. So it's safe from, any sort of attacks or invasion attempts or anything of that sort, And besides that, it's got great architecture. And we now enter this hall, which is again huge. And during festivities and feasts, thousands of people would sit here and eat. And as we go further, we're looking at some huge jars. So these jars were meant to store pickles. And yeah, they ate that much pickle. So you can probably guess where that fire came from to beat away the Portuguese, Sort of helping with the Travancore history.
പിന്നെ ഒരു കാര്യത്തിൽ നമുക്ക് തിരുവിതാംകൂറിന്റെ ഹിസ്റ്ററി ഫുള്ളായിട്ട് കിട്ടത്തില്ല. ബട്ട് കുറച്ച് അവരുടെ ഫാമിലി മെമ്പേഴ്സിൽ നിന്ന് കേട്ടതും പിന്നെ ചരിത്രകാരന്മാർ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള.
Okay. So being history, of course, there's always a question of genuinity, but we weren't there, so we can never really exactly say. But looking at a place like this, we do get some sort of an understanding of who the king really was, what kind of a person he was.
The puja and the meditation hall.
So clearly, the king was very spiritual also, and Martandavarma in his time did develop a lot of relations through trade, and you can see that in a lot of these places, in wood that's procured from so many different places, artisans and craftsmen that come in and do so much different work, that this looks like a mix of so many different cultures from not just India but all over the world. So we're now in the private chambers of the king, and that's the famous Sapramancha Katil, which is built from 64 different types of wood with medicinal properties. And the king, whenever he got time off his kingly schedule, used to come and chill here and lie on his bed and look at his ceiling, which is decorated with some amazing Chinese woodwork. And that's also because they used to do a lot of trade with China at the time. And as you leave the king's chambers, you walk into
The royal ladies' makeup room.
Makeup room.
a makeup room for the royal ladies. I mean, this palace has so many features. A performance space, a temple, an East Asian looking tower structure, a traditional huge kitchen, a pond, and so many artifacts. And they're all well maintained all the way up to today. Fun fact, this is actually one of the largest wooden palaces in all of Asia. And looking at it, you may think, wow, this is so beautiful. Martandavarma must have just sat here and admired its beauty all day when he lived here. But contrary to that, Aranyam Tirunal Martandavarma was kind of a badass. So this is the Udaigiri Fort, where there's a tomb to a person called Delanoy, who was a Dutch commander of Martandavarma's forces. And he came to be in such a position because during the Kolachal War, Martandavarma thrashed the Dutch and captured this man and gave him a choice of either service to the king or death. And so he served the king, Martandavarma, and his son Ramavarma before he was buried here. And Martandavarma is actually the reason we didn't become a Dutch colony before we became an English colony. Unfortunately, there were no Martandavarmas around when the English came. But I do digress. So we're back to the home of some of the leading lights of the Travancore family, and we're going into the Tekke Kottaram, or the Southern Palace, which is as old as the main palace. And today, it's sort of a museum that hosts all the artifacts and things that all the royal family used while they stayed here. And now we walk back to the main compound. And we're headed straight here for the Indravilasam, which is the guest house where a lot of foreign dignitaries and people from other states and kingdoms, they were hosted here by the king. And it's so well maintained even today. And just look at that. That was the idea of a house 400 years ago. And this is the view from here. I mean, who would want to leave? Even I don't want to leave. But this has been the Padmanabhapuram Palace, and it's been home to some of the greatest kings in Indian history. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and do join me next Monday as we explore Mandaikadu in Kanyakumari District of Tamil Nadu.